We'll start with where the Chiefs could add as a wide receiver. As the Chiefs look for more depth at wide receiver, I thought they could maybe get through it with Juju Smith-Schuster. He was piecing things together, but then he got hurt. And, of course, they're going to have to look at a trade piece now. That I believe that. And in order to win a Super Bowl, I would do that. But where do I add, and what is giving up too much? I'm going to go through some names and tell you what I would give up for them. Amari Cooper is also a target that they could have got that went to the Bills. In my mind, why did the Jets get Devontae Adams? They already suck. It never made a difference to me, but that's fine. We saw that on Sunday night when they lost to the Steelers, that the Jets aren't any good, and neither are the Cleveland Browns. They're the most two overrated organizations in football. I'm going to give you 5 names that the Chiefs could target. Deontay Johnson from the Carolina Panthers. Cooper Kupp from the Rams, although I wouldn't give up more than a 4th-round pick for him. Hasn't had a great season since 2021, which he had one of the best seasons ever as a wide receiver. Darius Slay from the Giants is another one. Again, 4th, 5th, or 6th-round pick. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe I give up a 3rd. Christian Kirk from the Jaguars, give up a 5th. Demarcus Robinson of the Rams, the only reason I go there is because he was a former Chief, but I wouldn't give up more than a 6th for him. We didn't get enough time to go through the noon games yesterday. The Bears were on the bye. Texans beat the Packers on a late field goal, and it's back-to-back. Vikings by 3 on a last second. The Packers beat the Vikings on a last-second field goal to win that. Bills take care of the Titans easily, 34-10. Eagles take care of the Giants. Saquon Barkley had 176 yards against his former team that the Giants certainly could have paid less to. And now the Giants are probably going to fire their head coach by the end of the season. Brian Dable. Lions win 31-29 over the Vikings. They're one of the top teams in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl. Adrian Hutchinson might be back for we're going over NFL injuries. After I went through all those games, rest of the games at noon this week were I said the Bills beat the Titans 34-10. Packers beat the Texans 24-22. Eagles beat the Giants 28-3. Lions beat the Vikings 31-29 on the last field goal. Seahawks beat the Falcons 34-14. Bengals beat the Browns 21-14. Colts beat the Dolphins 16-10. They're kind of an average team that may make the wild card. Commanders beat the Panthers without Jaden Daniels. It was Marcus Mariota taking over for Jaden Daniels. The injury is not serious, but he could miss this week. Now an injury update on players. The Raiders beat the Rams. I mentioned that on yesterday's show. Okay, so then we'll go over injuries to give you an update. David Montgomery sustained an injury Sunday. Deshawn Watson sustained an injury and is out for the season. He's the biggest mistake in football besides being a sexual accusations against him. There's no proof that he's good enough to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. It's the most failure contract I've ever seen in the NFL. Also, Adrian O'Connell gets hurt, and they're going to have to go back to Gardner Minshew. And going back to Gardner Minshew does not solve the problem for Antonio Pierce to save his job. So I'm looking for a quarterback, and I'm lobbying the the front office to get a quarterback so I can keep my job. Jimmy Garoppolo from the Rams is on the Rams, as you may remember. He was really good on the 49ers. Andy Dalton would be a possible explanation. Jameis Winston. Those are 4 quarterbacks I would add. And Ryan Tannehill, another option in free agency. But in all reality, I don't think Antonio Pierce is a very good coach. I mean, he can prove his trash talking that he figured out a plan to beat the Chiefs, but I don't think he'll beat the Chiefs this week anyways. So that's not going to save his job. He's probably going to be with that job anyways. Brandon Ayuk, 49ers, is out for the rest of the regular season as he got hurt this week. Marlon Humphrey sustained an injury, and Chris Godwin is out for the season. Linebacker Denise Reddick is out for the season for the Jets. Tyler Huntley sustained a shoulder injury for the Dolphins, but it looks like it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa. Now on to the college football. Mizzou and Brady Cook come back. Drew Payne was the quarterback. He was the worst quarterback I've ever seen in college football history, as he couldn't throw the ball within 15 yards of the next receiver. Brady Cook comes in and has 2 touchdowns to beat Auburn and keep Missouri's slim playoff hopes alive. They'd have to beat Alabama to stay in the football playoffs. I'm not picking them, but if I want to dream, maybe that can happen. KU pulls out a victory, 42-14. Jaden Daniels does well as he goes for 247, 3 touchdowns. Some KU fans are lobbying for a bowl, but KU will have to win 4 out of 5, and they play 3 ranked teams. Kansas State will play KU, and there will be 3 other ranked teams for them to play out of 5. Kansas State destroys West Virginia 45-18. Georgia State's to Texas. You're not ready to be an elite team in the SEC, and they can prove it again, probably by getting up to the polls in the playoff spot. Right now, there's 6 in the AP and 5 in the playoff pool. Notre Dame defeats Georgia Tech. They stay alive for the final spot in the AP poll at 12 and 11. Tennessee gets past Alabama 24-17. I don't think Alabama's as good at its ranking, but they're still in the top teams to make a playoff. Illinois, my biggest late game last night. The Chargers lose to the Cardinals 17-15, a game of the Chargers. Chargers lose to the Cardinals 17-15 in a game they really needed the Chargers. The Chargers dropped to 3-4, which is why I think Justin Herbert is not good enough. Chargers are 3-3. Chargers lost 1 they shouldn't have lost again this season. It's happened a lot in the past seasons, which is why I keep thinking maybe Justin Herbert just isn't good enough. And Ravens beat the Buccaneers 41-31 on Monday night. That's Sam Vaughn Sports. Unless you live under a tree, you would know that the Yankees play the Dodgers in the World Series. Dodgers beat the Mets in the NL Championship, and the Yankees beat the Cleveland Guardians in the AL Championship. Yankees Dodgers again in the World Series. Not been for close to 50 years, though.